Okay, I'm making a video to show how you can clean data. This data I've got here is just downloaded from the internet, CSV file. You can see it's got first names, last names, emails, genders, and 2 date of birth columns. The reason I've got 2 is the first one is in one format and the second is in another. But you can see there's some that are completely different format here, that's why they're off to the right. And when I was working with sheets a lot, that was one of the big things I fell into that was difficult to sort out. So I'm going to show you how to do it, or how I'd do it. Doesn't mean this is the way you have to do it, and there's a lot of other ways you can do it, but this is just the way I did it. Right, so this is the tab here that's got the CSV file imported into it, and I always call it import just to make it easy for myself. So what I'll first do is make another tab, and I'll call this query. So what I want to do now is to use the query function to pull in all of this data. So that's A to F. So I'll do that here. Also I can spell. That just means I'm going to select everything. Okay, so now some of the things I want to figure out here is the end result is I want to be able to show how many people were born on a certain month in a year, how many of them are female, how many are male, and all that kind of thing. But it's pointless if they haven't got first names, last names, emails, gender, that sort of stuff. So in this query function, I want to filter out the ones that are missing data. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the where clause. That's to check if the column A is full or not. So it gets rid of all the blank ones. So I'm going to do this with all columns up to column D. Okay. Now I don't necessarily want to do that for the date of birth columns at this point, and I'll show you why, and I figured out something I've done wrong here as well. You see that it says first name Jill, last name Crouch. The reason for that is, in my query function here, I haven't put a 1 here. There we go. Changes that. Anybody got rid of Jill because her email was missing. Okay, so first things first. Because the date's been different formats, the best way to do it, or I found, is to convert it into something called a date value, which is totally irrespective of what format it is. It can be day first, month first, year first, it makes a difference. It's how Google Sheets stores the date, and then you can change it from there into what you want. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, this first one, call it DLB1. I'm going to go, this is just saying if this column is blank. If it's not blank, I want to do this. So date value, and I'll use array formula so it goes all the way down. Right, so that is the date value of this one. Obviously here is blank, so it's not going to do it because I told it not to. Now, what I want to do here is, if one of these are blank, I want it to get this one. But at the end of the day, I do need those to be both in the same format. But first, I just need to figure this bit out. So that's the date value for date of birth 1. And date of birth 2. If I say, yeah, let's copy this and do exactly the same for that column. Change it to F. Okay, now as you can see there, some of them have come through. For example, this row 3, that's fine, that's gone to its data value. But row 1, now it looks exactly the same here, but it isn't. It's in a different kind of format that Google Sheets doesn't recognise, which is why it's saying value. It doesn't understand what it is. It's not a date. Don't know what it is, but it's not a date. Now that used to happen to me quite a bit. Even in data you download from the internet, CSV files, Tableau data, any kind of thing, database data sometimes. So you need to know how to clear it and sort it out. So what I'm going to do here is I want to tell this to just write error if it can't do it. So I use the if error function. And write error. Okay. So that's what that does. Okay. So now, if it is error, I need to be able to figure out what is actually going on and change it into a date, so then we can get the data value from it. So what I'm going to do is again do F2, and then I want to use the function called split on F2 and split it on the little dash, because then what that's going to do for me. Aha, right, so that's DRB to day, that's DRB to month, and that's DRB to year. Right, so now I've split them out into them. So now I can use this column to actually put them into a date. Yep. Use the date function, and it always goes year first. So it's L2, and then K2, and then J. Excellent. So now that pulls out the data value for that one. Okay. So that's that. Right. So it's pulled out the data value correctly. Now it knows there's a date. That's excellent. Now what I did here, what I should have done is put an if here. So I want if 2 to I equals error. Okay. And now I will put a if error here. And there we go, clears it up a little bit. So if you can follow what that's done, if this is error, then it splits it. So then the data value can be created there. If it isn't error, doesn't do anything, leaves it blank. So it clears it up a little bit for me. Right, so what I need to do now is I need to figure out which of these two data values are actually the one I'm going to use. I want it to always be data value 1, and if it can't be data value 1, then I want to do data value 2. So I'm going to say data value in use, and I'm going to go if is blank. Let's do is blank on the first column, so if anything is in the first column, it's going to try and do it. Right. If is blank h2 to h. Now one way I figure out if statements a lot of the time is I will do this. I'll do the if statement. Oop. And I will simply write yes. No, like that. Okay. So you can see there, this is literally just saying, is H blank, yes or no? So you can see yes there. Excellent. Okay. So I know that this one is no. Okay. So that should equal what's in H. Okay. So then what is blank here needs to then look at I2 to I. Okay, but that's not quite as simple as that, right? So it needs to look, then this I2 to I actually needs to be an if statement. So if I2 to I equals error, then I want it to look in column M, which is the one I figured out before. But if it isn't error, I want it to be I2 to I. Perfect. So now I've got the date value no matter what date it's looking at. So now I'm going to make a new column here, and I'm going to go if is blank n2 to n. I'm going to use the text function. There you go, can't spell again. Text n2 to n, and I'm going to put the format I prefer the most, which is this. There we go, they're all in that correct format now. But for the purposes of what the data I want to get, I want to be able to see how many people were born in June in 2024 and have numbers. How many were born in September, how many in June, all that kind of thing. So I need to split the year and the month out. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to say month, year, and I'm going to copy this function. But I'm going to take out the day. So there we go. So that's that bit. So now, what I can do is I can go, now I've cleaned all the data, I can now make another sheet, call it data. Then I can go do query again. So equals query, probably shouldn't have named it actually. A to P. Okay, select that. Now obviously I don't want all this, but I'm just going through what I do want. So I'm going to go A to D and then O and P. So A to D, O and P. So here A, B, C, D, O, P. There we go. That's exactly the data I need. So what I now want to do is call this month here. I know it's a bit confusing, but you'll see what I'm doing. Now I want to go. Now I would normally just use unique here and go F2 to F. I just want everything that's unique, right? But it's not necessarily going to put it in order, annoyingly. Now what I could actually do here, if I can go back to the query function, I'm going to change this how I want it here. I'm going to put it year and then month instead, because then it's easier. You see it's all changed. It's easier for me to then order it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to use query again. So I find this a bit easier. So query F2 to F. Select F, it is a bit long-winded. Order by F. And now I need to put F is not null. Let's get rid of that blank. Now, let me see what it's done here. Let me see, it's figured it all out for me. So it's just what I wanted it to do. Now if I wanted it the other way around, I could put ascending, which is what it is, or I could put descending. Right? But for this purpose, I want it to go like that. Right, so now I simply want to do a count. H2 to H, count F, F2 to F equals we go. That's how many people were born 2021 April, 2021 August, and they're all the way down. And I could even go, if I want to, 635 people. So there's quite a few blanks in, because I had 1,000 originally. 1,000 rows of data in the import tab. So that's an easy way to do that kind of thing if you want to. There's obviously many different ways to do it, that's just the way I would do it. And the reason I built it this way with 3 different tabs is the import tab here. I don't put any formulas in here at all. So if I have more data, like different data that has the same columns and everything like that, I can just delete this and re-import the new data, and then the rest of this will figure it out for me, and I don't need to mess about with anything else. So I hope that's helped someone, anyone, possibly. If it has, let me know, because that'd be nice. If not, if there's something else you want me to show you, then just put a comment and let me know. Otherwise, if you've actually got some data you want me to try and sort out and show you, then let me know. Send me the data, and I'll do another video just like this for you, and show you how to do it. As long as there's no data protection kind of stuff in there, like GDPR and that kind of thing. So be careful with that. But yeah, either way, message me and let me know if you need a hand with something. But yeah, thanks for watching.